Hey guys, it's Daniel, licensed therapist. At the time of this recording, Patrick Bet-David is worth about $500 million. $500 million! And those people that know Patrick would say, hey, congratulations, but if you don't know who he is, that alone tells you a lot. Needless to say, Patrick is a wealth of knowledge in a bunch of different areas, but I think he fancies himself a little bit of a philosopher. And he came up with this video about red flags, and well, red flags is something that I deal with all the time. I deal with people, I deal with relationships on a daily basis and try to help people get better. So red flags, I'm very familiar with. The thing about red flags is everyone has different red flags. So let's look at Patrick's and see if they're any good. Let's get into it.
Having been in business for nearly 25 years, I've hired people that became rock stars and changed the company. And I recruited people that waste a lot of time, cost money, maybe millions of dollars. And eventually I had to learn how to filter the two out. I'm gonna give you one of the biggest signs on how to filter these guys out. When I tell you the story, it's gonna make a lot of sense to you. If you get value out of this video, give it a thumbs up and subscribe to the channel. So let me tell you this story. It's 8 years ago. I'm sitting down with this one guy. Let's call him Anthony, okay? And he comes in and he says, oh my God, Patrick, this is such an honor to meet you. I've been following you in the insurance industry. No wonder everybody talks about you're the guy to be in business with. I'm like, okay. I'm always a little careful where it's a little too much flattery. It's a big red sign, red flag for me. I'm like, okay, I'll receive it. Hey.
So, over the top flattery, is that a red flag? Well, I think it could be, but I need us to look at over the top flattery as a behavior. And a behavior is simply a representation of something going on inside of someone, a thought or a feeling. I feel like someone could have that behavior and have very good and pure intentions. Maybe that person is just very kind and very complimentary. Maybe that person is unaware socially and they don't know how they're coming across. Or maybe this person is starstruck and is really excited to see Patrick. But most likely someone is just flattering another person. And I'm talking about over the top flattering because they want something from somebody. They're trying to butter them up. They're trying to get something. And if someone's doing that, they have a self-serving motive. And someone who is self-serving often can be manipulative. And we as human beings, we're actually sort of programmed to sniff that out. And I think that's what Patrick is doing. Maybe he's not doing it consciously, but something in him feels weird when someone flatters him too much. And we're evolved to survive, and being attached and very close to someone and trust someone who is self-serving and manipulative goes against our survival instincts. So red flag number one, I think is a good one.
Hey, thank you so much, brother. Appreciate you, man. Thank you. It's great to meet you as well. You mind telling me a little bit about your background, you know, how you've done what you've done? Well, I've been in the insurance space for 12 years. Fantastic. First 5 years I was with New York Life. How was New York Life? Horrible. Really? Yeah. Tell me why. There's no money to be made. The leaders are this. It's a bad company. They don't take care of their people. I'm like, okay, cool. Where'd you go afterwards? I went to this other company called Primerica because they told me they're going to teach me how to recruit and I'm going to build an agency and this. And what happened? Nobody helped me out. No one was doing this. All they care about is this. None of them care about that. I go, where'd you go after that? I went to Transamerica. How was Transamerica? Nobody makes money there. Their products are this. It's all about fees. This is all they care about. Oh, interesting. Okay. I said, can I ask you a question? He says, yes. I said, so 12 years, 3 companies, bad experiences everywhere. Absolutely, but this is why I've been looking forward to working with a great leader like you. Because I think working with you, it's gonna be awesome. I've never worked with somebody great. I've never done this. I'm so excited about this. It's gonna be life-changing.
So what we have here and what Patrick is noticing is a pattern. And human beings, we are creatures of pattern. And the thing about patterns is they're extremely hard to change, but it's possible to change. And what I tell my clients all the time, if they're trying to change or if they expect someone to change, I say, okay, it's possible, but you're gonna have to tell me how that change is going to occur. You're gonna have to give me the narrative of that change. And one thing I do a lot in therapy is if we notice a change, we immediately go back and we process exactly what happened because we wanna understand that change so we can apply that now and into the future. But Patrick Bet-David inserts his own narrative onto the set of circumstances. And that's what we do as human beings To understand the world, we tell ourselves a story about the evidence and the events going on around us, and it helps us understand it. And what Patrick does is he creates a story that this person is the reason why he had so many jobs. And while that seems correct and probably is, I would probably bet that that's true, it doesn't necessarily mean that it is true. And so in order to really find out what's true, you would have to investigate and see if there's an alternative explanation. So I can see that there could be one for this person. Maybe he is a very good employee, but he just had bad luck and had a bunch of bad bosses. It happens, but let's see.
I said, can I be direct with you? Yeah, of course. How long do you think it'll take before I'm the fourth company you're going to hate? What do you mean? Well, I mean, New York Life, I know a lot of great people there. Company's been around for a long time. They've changed a lot of people's lives. People make millions of dollars. They got good products. They got a great brand. Same with Primerica, I can say, N-Trans, great leaders, change a lot of people's lives, money, all of that. I don't solve for perfection, I solve for results. All three of them get great results with people that want to do things. So if you're talking bad about those other three companies, I'm going to be the fourth one soon, don't you think? I would never do that to you. See, the difference is you. I'm not trying to say all these guys are bad and all this other stuff, but it's you. So red flag, flattery, second. If a person tells me bad things about the last three people they've worked with, you're going to be the fourth. If a girl you go on a date with, she talks badly about all her exes, you're going to be the next one. If a guy you're hiring tells you how horrible their bosses have been at the last 20 companies, you're going to be the 21st. This is not the company, it's the individual, and you'll be next. Do not fall for flattery and have a big red flag when somebody's talking badly about all the different companies.
So Patrick again talks about flattery as a red flag. And like I said, I think I would be able to agree with that, but I think he misses something because I think I'm seeing an even bigger red flag here. And that red flag would be someone who can't take responsibility. When someone can't take responsibility, always deflects, always blames others, that indicates something to me psychologically. It tells me that that person is weak internally. And that's not to put anybody down, but there are people, and I think you know this, that are just weak. And what does that mean? That means they're just more sensitive. And think about that. Someone who is always really sensitive, is that the type of person that you want to be around? Yeah, no. You want to surround yourself with people who are very healthy, who are very easygoing. And that way your relationship will be nice and smooth.
An amateur is going to fall for it because you want flattery and the compliments. Oh my God, I'm so amazing. Yes, you're right. I am different. You're not different. That person's going to come here, bring you a lot of headaches, steal hundreds of hours of your time, deceive you, use flattery, use guilt. Eventually, when something doesn't go their way, you see what happened? Nobody did this, nobody did that, and that is why I failed. And then they're going to go to the fifth company and tell the story. You know what happened with that story? That person came on board, okay? Because I wasn't the decision maker of this person coming on board. Somebody else was able to choose this person to work with them. I said, look, I'm not working with them. You can pick and choose. The guy comes on board. You know what happens 2 years later? We became the fourth company, okay? And this was like 4 or 5 years ago. We became the fourth company. Why? Because that's a trend. Okay, it's going to constantly happen with people that are always complaining about the situations. So instead, what I would rather hear in an interview is somebody to say, you know what, I was with XYZ company for this many years, great experience, learned a lot from John Doe, When I decided to leave at that point because the person I was working with retired, so my loyalty, I really enjoyed working with them. I decided to go to XYZ place because my wife was best friends with this lady who her husband had been, and then I went over there, worked great, made a lot of changes, and then that person moved to a different place. So I eventually went and worked over here. And now, quite frankly, I'd love to work with you because I see the opportunity here with the company. You guys are growing. I'd love to get a shot at working with you guys. It's a very different language than blame, blame, blame. It's a clear sign that you'll see to be careful for when certain people that are complaining about their bosses, friends, exes, everybody, typically you're gonna be the next one.
So surprise, surprise, Patrick was right this whole time, but we knew that was gonna happen. It's his video and his story after all. But it's very interesting because Patrick gives an example of somebody else, a second employee, giving another narrative, another account of moving on from different companies. And it's kind of like the same thing happened to two people, but there's two different narratives. And so we have to ask ourselves, what separates these two narratives? And according to Patrick, he sees the first one as flattery, and that is the big difference, and that is the big red flag. But I somewhat disagree here. I honestly look at the second person and I look at the way that he gives his narrative in Patrick's story, and I think, well, this is a person that is simply stating the facts. He's telling what happened in a very emotionless way, while the first person appears very emotional. If you have to slander someone and put someone down, you know that they don't like that person and that it's emotional. And to me, that is the bigger red flag. And I feel like one of the biggest red flags, which is the inability to regulate emotions, the inability to leave emotions out of it and just speak factually. People who can't regulate their emotions, they operate on emotions, they make irrational decisions, and they make choices that they will regret later on, that have consequences that they never intended. But they couldn't help it. Their emotions took over. So Patrick's red flag of flattery, I think it's okay. I think if someone were to do that to me, I would feel uncomfortable and I would question what's going on. But I do feel like there is an explanation. Maybe he's just a really sweet guy, and I think that's possible. But when it comes to somebody who can't regulate their emotions, there's simply no way to explain it. They're simply not healthy, and you don't want to be connected to that person. You don't want to walk on eggshells all the time. So that's my thought on Patrick Bet-David's red flags. I hope you liked it. If you did, consider liking and subscribing. And if you have anything you want me to react to, leave it in the comments down there. Thanks for watching, guys. I'll see you next time.